Thank you for staying with us here on the key points. Now, in 2 weeks, the implementation of the electronic levy law, known commonly as the E-Levy, will begin. The law has already outlined where the law or the details are to be applied. But certainly in practical terms, how many of us really, quote, get it? That is how it will be implemented. Well, that's why a team comprising the E-Levy committee have determined how the E-Levy will be implemented. And I'm sure many of you have questions, so you can send them to 055-369-8789, or you can send them to our social media handles, TV3_Ghana, 3FM 92.7, and my handle at Beho Bampo. I've already received some questions via Facebook and Twitter, so I'll share them with a member of the E-Levy committee, Isaac Kobena-Mwako, who is with the Ghana Revenue Authority and will be with us over the next 50 minutes in our studios, and he'll take your questions as well. Isaac, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us here on TV3.
Thank you very much.
All right, great. So you just need to speak up a little louder. So
okay.
When I posted this on TV, a lot of people were surprised. Oh, so there's an E-Levy committee. So tell us, what's the E-Levy committee supposed to do?
So the E-Levy committee, thank you very much. The E-Levy committee is responsible for making sure that we bring into fruition the act, that is the Electronic Transfer Levy Act 1075, 2022. We make sure we implement it and the levy gets charged by the parties that the law have defined. So that's the mandate of the committee, to make sure that the law is successfully implemented.
Now, the E-Levy is going to be implemented in 14 days, is that it?
Perfect.
So what will we see? Will we see any alerts on our phones? Will we get any bank alerts? I mean, what's going to happen?
So nothing will change drastically. What probably you would see is that when you make a transfer, at the notification side where the telco will be communicating to you how much you're supposed to be charged, you see an extra information that would be E-Levy amount chargeable. That is, if you are doing a transaction that is taxable by E-Levy, then you will see that information before you provide your PIN, just like you currently do. So there won't be a drastic change. It would just be that you should be mindful of the notice that is given to you before you provide your PIN. And extra information would come that will show you the levy amount that is to be deducted.
Okay. So what is the E-Levy going to be applied on, or applied to, or applied for?
Okay. So when you are making a transfer, you have an amount of money you intend to transfer. Let's call that your principal amount. So let me say I'm transferring 300 Ghana cedis. So my principal amount is 300 Ghana cedis. The telcos or the entity that you are transferring on their platform would impose a charge. For some, it is 1%. So whatever percentage that charging party would impose on is different from what the E-Levy is also going to impose on. So you have this 1% the telcos are going to impose on your total amount. So for 300, there's an extra levy of 3 cedis. Now the E-Levy, we are granting the first 100 Ghana to you as tax-free for each day that you do a transfer. So that will mean that the remainder, which will be 200, is what the 1.5 will be applied on. Then you add that amount to the charges, to the principal. And that is the amount of money the sender should have in their wallet before that transaction can go on successfully.
Okay. Now, one of the things a lot of people have said is that they are concerned about E-Levy coming because the E-Levy is going to be taxing the money on their wallet. Is that what's going to happen? Can you clarify that for us? Or, like you said, it's when you undertake an electronic transfer, but electronic transfer from where? Is it just from my bank account, my Momo account? Is it when I use ePay or ZPay or whatever? What's the clarity you can give us on that?
Okay, so the clarity is that the law has defined some scope, some transactions that come within the scope of the E-Levy. So the first scope is that If you are making a transfer on the same electronic money issuer, we would probably say telco to telco on the same network. So that means my MTN to MTN, my Vodafone to Vodafone, my Airtel Tigo to Airtel Tigo, that comes under the purview of the E-Levy Act. So that kind of transaction would come within the purview of the Act. The second cover is that if you are making transfer to another network, so this time MTN to Vodafone or Vodafone to MTN, that is the next coverage, but all on the Momo platform. The third one is a bank account to a Momo platform. That is also within the coverage. And then the fourth one is a Momo to a bank account. So these are the four main ones which are Momo related, and bank accounts, a mess of them. The last one is an instant pay transfer for a bank account that belongs to an individual. So for this particular one, it is not terminating on a mobile phone. It is terminating on another bank account. So this is like a bank to bank, but it's restricted to individuals. Okay. And it's also restricted to when you are making an instant pay using any of the digital apps. Okay. So your banking app, the internet banking, any digital platform. When you use that to do bank to bank transfer, this is where this particular levy will apply. That would mean that banking hall transactions may not apply. That's how we are defining.
I know there are some exceptions, but we'll come to that. We have a few questions that relate to some of the scope you've provided for where the law will be applied. So I'll put that to you. So there's this one question from Di Stefano on Facebook. He says, my issue is the threshold of 100 Ghana cedis is unfair. They should consider a threshold of 1,000 Ghana cedis. They must not make the poor poorer. Our taxation regime should be fair. The second point he raises is the 1.5% should not apply to everyone. They can apply the 1.5% to corporate users and 0.5% to individual users. The GRA can determine who a corporate user is looking at the person's transaction flow. How do you explain this to, how do you address the issue raised by this person?
I believe these address, or these questions are policy questions. It's okay. Not within
the policy is already done, so it doesn't come.
It doesn't come in. No.
Okay, so meaning that the bit about the threshold being 100 Ghana is unfair. It cannot be amended as of now.
That one is beyond.
That's beyond. Okay, so for now, the threshold is 100 Ghana cedis. Okay, so in terms of the 100 Ghana cedi threshold, explain it to me. So I have a mobile money account, I have a bank account, and I also have, say, an or a fintech, an e-commerce payments platform that I use. So is it threshold of 100 Ghana cedis per each of these platforms?
No.
No.
It is a cumulative transfer to the person.
Okay.
So for you to even enjoy it, we need to find out your identity. If we are unable to find your identity, it will be very difficult to provide this incentive to you.
Okay. So let me give an example. So my maiden name, Jifag Beho, is on one bank account platform. Jifa Bampo, my married name, is on a mobile platform. And then I have Jifa Bampo on another, maybe fintech payment or e-commerce payment platform. I'm drawing money from Jifa Beho to pay to Jifa Bampo on another platform. I'm the same person.
Okay. So
I have a national ID card, but okay. I'm the same person. The names are just different.
So we are not using your names.
Okay.
We are using the identity behind the names. So we are not checking whether the permutation, either Jifa comes first and Bampo comes second. That's not what we are checking. We are checking what is the identity behind the name. So the identity we're using is the Ghana card. So it means that if you have one, that the identity is a passport, another one, the identity is a voter ID, another one, the identity is a driver's license, we are going to ignore them and only look at the one that the identity is the Ghana card.
So if Jifa Beho is on a mobile money platform, say MTN, and Jifa Bampo is on a Tigo platform, and I transfer money in between that. Ideally, I shouldn't pay,
You shouldn't pay.
but I may pay.
You may pay if the identities are different.
So meaning if I registered with a passport on one and a voter ID on another, I will pay. So the identifier or the uniform identification number is
Ghana card.
Ghana card.
Yes.
So Ghana card must be the number on all these platforms to enable me benefits from the 100 CD threshold to start with.
As well as transfers among your accounts, which is
see.
also tax-free.
Okay,
No threshold.
I see.
You can transfer 1 million to any of your account, bank, Momo, PSP, that is the fintech. It won't affect you so far as the Ghana card identity.
So far as the registration has the Ghana card as the identifier number.
Yes.
Okay. Now there's the issue of I transfer 50 CDs to Ama, 20 CDs to Kofi,
70.
and 33 CDs to Fafa.
Fafa.
When you add everything, it's 103
103.
CDs. How will the E-Levy apply?
Okay. So the E-Levy applies on the extra, the difference after the 100 Ghana cedi is granted. So we'll take the 100 Ghana out of the 103 and just apply 1.5 on 3 cedis.
1.5 on the 3 CDs.
Yes.
Okay. Now there's an issue I've heard raised about transfers. When people go to make a transfer, they top up the amount. So I want to transfer 200 CDs to my dad. I want him to get 200 CDs. So I top up with 4 CDs because I'll be deducted, and when he withdraws, he will also be deducted 2 CDs. How will the E-Levy apply in that instance? Is it at the front end and the back end?
Okay. So this is how you should look at it. How much money are you transferring from your account to the other person? That's how you should look at it. So the question seems to have combined a number of things together, so there will be some confusion. Cash in is you're putting money on your own wallet. It doesn't attract E-Levy. It's more like doing a deposit at the bank. No E-Levy applies. Okay. On the other hand, you're transferring money from your account to another person. That is where E-Levy applies. Now, you want the person who is at the other end not to get less than the amount you intend to transfer. So you intend to transfer 200. So there's a charge going of 2 cedi by the telco. And then there's a charge of cash out at the other end of 2 cedi, making 4 cedi. So it means that you should have 204 for your transfer to be successful from your own wallet to the person. Now, E-Levy applies on the extra 100 at 1.5. So we deduct 100 from the 200, apply 1.5 on the 100. That becomes 1 cedi, 50 pesos. You add that to your 4 cedis that you already know that you should have. And that should be the amount of money that is ready in your wallet before the transfer can go on successfully. So when this transfer goes on successfully, the other party at the other end will receive the 204, because that's the amount you sent. 204 is what you have sent. The telco takes 2 cedi, the government takes 1 cedi 50 pesos, and then that becomes the charges you've paid. When it gets to the other end, he gets the 202.
Yes.
Because the charge has been deducted already, so she'll get 202.
Okay.
And then when she takes it out, they take 2 cedis from her and she gets her 200.
Okay. Obviously, you work at the GRA and you are in tax, so your maths is very good. So many of us, our maths died long ago. So will we see any table to educate us or enlighten us such that when we go to the vendor and we are doing these transfers, we know how much to add and the like?
Yes, there will be a chart. So we are working with the charging entities. You know, the charging entities already have a chart.
Yes.
So the agreement with the charging entities is that they create a column for the E-Levy, so that they indicate the E-Levy on that chart.
Okay.
And that is what, once we go live, they should update the current table and include the E-Levy in their chart. And that becomes the chart.
That will be pasted, I know, at the vendor's place. What about those of us who may not visit a vendor often and we are doing everything on our phone? How will we have a view of what the numbers
The
look
chart.
like?
Yes, I believe there will be PDF copies that will be shared on social media that people can make use of.
Let me bring you some more questions that came to us. I think this one had been answered. It said, if charges won't be applied to the transfer between Momo accounts of the same person, why would it be applied to a transfer from one's bank account to their Momo account?
It won't also be
It won't
applied.
also apply. So if I have a bank account and a Momo account, insofar as the national ID is the registered number on both, if I pull money from my bank account to my Momo, I won't be charged E-Levy.
You won't be charged
And
E-Levy.
then vice versa
And vice
as
versa.
well.
You won't
Okay.
be
So
charged
that's
E-Levy.
been dealt with. This one is from Papa Tete. It says, please ask your guests, why is it that if I have a CBG account and I'm sending money to someone else in the same CBG bank from account to account, it should attract E-Levy? So that means we are both in CBG and I'm transferring money to you, and yet you are, and I'm being charged the E-Levy. Meanwhile, I'm already paying bank transfer.
So most banks, if it's the same bank, there's no bank transfer charges. The charges apply only if it is to another bank. But for the same bank, they normally don't apply
Typical domestic
charges.
accounts.
It's treated
Yes.
as domestic
Okay.
account. Yeah.
All
So
right.
we are envisaging that same thing will apply.
Okay.
There wouldn't be extra bank charges.
All right. Now, Chairman Samuel has raised something which is quite interesting. It says, will I be charged when repaying my MTN quick loan? And I think there's another question. Okay, so I think that's the main thing. So what happens to those who are receiving loans on their mobile money account?
So for the loans, it's quite a bit technical. We are looking at it from the point of view of the law that the loan companies are licensed loan companies, and that is the main business that they do. So what it will mean is that it's like going to a bank and registering at the bank. They open an account for you, and that account, when you move money out of it, it is a withdrawal, so E-Levy doesn't apply. If you put money into it, it becomes a deposit, and E-Levy doesn't apply. So we are looking at it from that point of view, that insofar as the company that is providing you the loan is a registered licensed loan company by the BOG, then it will be treated as if you are managing your own account. And for that matter, the E-Levy shouldn't apply.
Okay.
That is how we are looking
That's
at
how
it.
it should be.
That's how we are looking at it.
That's how you are
technically.
looking at it.
Yes.
Is there any discussion with the banks or
Yes.
the entities
Yes.
that are engaged in this business?
Yes, there's a discussion
Okay.
we've been having with them, yes.
Now, I'm just wondering, there's always this concern about monies that people get as loans, which they are dispersing or disposing to others. I mean, does that mean that when all these things are dealt with, if they still have the money on their wallet, any transfer they do, insofar as it's not to an account that belongs to them, they will still have to pay E-Levy?
Perfect.
Really?
So, to be safe, what you should do is that on the Momo platform, there's a distinction between a transfer and a payment.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people don't know the difference. So, they use transfer to make payment. Now, if you want to be on the safer side, do not use transfer to make payment. If you want to make payment, go to the payment option and make a payment. So let me give a scenario. You go to your barbering shop. He's barbered you. He's displayed his Momo number in his shop, and you want to pay him. Let's say maybe a high-end barbering shop, so you're paying him 200 Ghana cedis. His Momo number is displayed in his barbering shop. Then you go to your app and you do a transfer 200 to him. The E-Levy will apply to you.
Okay.
So what should you do? You should rather encourage the barber to be registered as a merchant on the Momo platform. And this time, when you are paying him, you don't do a transfer. You go to Momo Pay or Pay Bill. And if that barbering shop is registered with Ghana Revenue Authority, that entire amount that you pay to him will not attract the E-Levy.
So what you're saying is that if someone provides a service for us and we want to pay the person, whether it's a mobile money account, whatever it is, we should check if they are registered with the Ghana Revenue Authority.
Yes.
Why should we do that?
That's your civic duty as a citizen.
So I get a plumber who comes to work for me, and I pay him for his services, 500 cedis.
Yes.
You are asking me to ask the plumber to register with GRA.
Yes.
But we all know why would the plumber do that? After all, he is not paying the E-Levy.
Even though he is not paying the E-Levy, watch, if you're a salaried worker, watch your pay slip and see how much you pay every month. And then tell me that the artisan, some take 5,000, some takes more. They're not contributing any of this amount to the state. But they consume the same state resources like you. They use the streets that your taxes pay. They get protection from the police. They use government hospitals. We are all using the same facility, and it's only a few people who are contributing. So if you could contribute in bringing these people who hitherto are not in the tax net into the tax net by just doing this favor, that you check whether this person is registered, and you take steps to advise him to go to Ghana Revenue Authority and get registered, I believe you've done your civic duty. The total staff of GRA is probably no more than 6,000. Meanwhile, we have about 15 million Ghanaians who we can say active, who are active, and they are doing some kind of work. If all these 15 million are checking the artisans and the hairdressers and things,
everyone in the
informal sector, to just go to GRA and register, look at the number of people that we will rope into the tax nest if we just do this simple exercise.
So what you're saying is that if I provide any service to someone in the informal sector, he may be an auto mechanic, a plumber, a hairdresser, fashion designer, if I pay them for the service rendered, if they are on the GRA platform, I don't pay E-Levy.
You don't pay E-Levy.
I see.
You don't pay E-Levy.
So it's to also get all those who are not in the tax bracket to come and register. Then we benefit from the exemption.
From the exemption, yes.
I see.
So we are doing it the other way around. We are putting some kind of impediment on your way to make it unattractive for you to deal with somebody who is not regular with the state. So if it is painful enough that your best hairdresser, you are being charged more for the service, you should just advise the hairdresser, look, let me hold your hand. I'll take you to GRA. Just put your name on the platform. And once she does that, when you pay her through Momo Pay, you don't pay the E-Levy anymore.
Okay, so that then takes us into the conversation of exemptions. Who is exempt? Or are there ways that people will not have to pay E-Levy?
Yes. So we've already discussed about 3 of the exemptions already.
I see.
The first one is the 100 Ghana.
Okay, so that's the first exemption. The threshold of 100 Ghana for everyone.
For everyone.
Okay.
In a day.
Across
all your platforms.
Okay, so that's about 3,000 cedis a month.
That is if every day you do that.
That is if you do 100 cedis
every day. But people don't do every day. So you can't get 3,000.
You'll be surprised.
Then the person, the moment somebody can do every day 100, that person is not poor. That person is not even informal sector. That person is like you and I. Because that's our salary range. Teachers, your salary range is from 3,000 going. So if you can do 100 every other day, you're not poor. By Ghana standard, teachers, some get 2,005 as the net receivable. So if somebody is paying 100 Ghana, would you consider such a person as poor? No.
So that's the first exemption. The second exemption
is the fact that if the account belongs to you across
platforms, then you don't pay.
Then you don't pay
with the caveat that the national ID number is the identifier number across all these platforms.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the second exemption. And then the third
one is what we've also described, that if the merchant or the person you are buying from is registered on the Ghana Revenue Authority tax roll and is using the online payment, the Pay Momo that the platform provides, where we call it a payment service, then you don't pay as well.
Okay.
We call it in the law calls a specified merchant payments.
Okay.
But it follows a particular steps. First, the merchant needs to be registered with Ghana Revenue Authority. 2, they need to register on the platform as merchant. So they have to do these 2 things. And then when you are paying them, you use the pay option, not the transfer option. Because if you use the transfer option,
then you'll be deducted.
You'll be deducted.
Okay. So it means if you have a plumber, a hairdresser, an auto mechanic, anybody you service in the informal sector, if you want to avoid paying E-Levy when you pay them for services done, then you need to get them to register on the GRA's platform.
Yes.
It's a tax platform, or what do you call it?
It's a one-time payment. So they come to our office, we put them on the tax roll, and they are done. They never.
How much do they pay?
It depends. I mean, tax is based on the income that you make.
Oh, so but they may not be able to tell you what they are.
An officer would interview you and do what we call assessment.
Okay.
So you, Jifa, when you come like this and I have to assess you, I'll start from your spectacle and your dress. At least I'll get your perfume scent, and then I'll be putting values to them. So by the time I'm done, I've been able to assess you, and I'll give you your value.
May end up over-assessing
you. I'll place you on the high net wealthy individuals.
Jesus Christ. So that's the way to avoid paying E-Levy for a service done, because ultimately you are paying someone for a service.
Yes.
And like you go into a shop and you buy something, you are paying for something, and the incidence is on that person to pay the tax.
No, when you're paying, the incidence is on the sender.
The incidence is on the sender.
Yes.
But the person at the other end is the beneficiary as well.
Yes. So what the law intends to do is that they're using you as a conduit to bring people into the tax net, because once he comes into the tax net, we will deal with him not as E-Levy.
Okay.
We'll deal him as a taxpayer.
Okay.
Know his income and assess him and ask him to pay his
So they'll
share.
be paying income tax.
They'll be paying income
VAT.
tax or VAT if they are liable for VAT.
All right.
Yeah.
Now there's a question here. I think you answered it, but just provide us clarity from Koje. Yeah, says I want to know if the 1.5% charge on the transactions will affect those we transfer money to, i.e. the person on the end withdrawing. They will not be affected.
The sender pays the 1.5.
Yes, it's
the
person
sender
on
doesn't.
the end.
The receiver doesn't have to pay anything. Yes.
Okay. Kweku asks, I heard the E-Levy covers the payment of utility bills. How true is that?
Okay. So we've done how many exemptions? We've done three. So we are left with 3 to go.
Okay.
And there's even a 7th exemption.
I
You see that the law has granted so many exemptions.
Really?
More than the coverage. The coverage is 5.
The coverage is 5.
And the exemption is 7.
It's only 2 per.
Which is
difference of 2 per.
Oh, so if I give you more freebies than I'm taking, I think that is
okay. So tell us a bit about the utility payment.
So utility payment will also fall under specified merchant payment. The utility provider is registered with the Ghana Revenue Authority, and you're paying the utility through the payment service. It doesn't attract the E-Levy. So when you are buying airtime, when you are paying DSTV, GoTV, all those things, insofar as the companies selling those things on the platform are registered with GRA, you don't pay the E-Levy.
So how will I know? Because it's 2 things. I can pay for some of these services directly from my bank account. That's one way. The other thing you can also do is they have these short codes. So how will I know that they are on the Ghana, the Ghana.gov payment platform?
Government of Ghana
payment
GRA,
platform or the GRA platform.
Yeah. So if you've observed very well, anytime you are doing a Momo transaction, before you provide your PIN, there's a prompt. The prompt gives you information. It will tell you the name of who you are paying to, that's the receiver. It will tell you the amount being deducted from you. It would also tell you if there's any charge from the telco. That is what will alert you to know whether the person is registered with Ghana Revenue Authority or not. Because at that point, if the E-Levy is computed and it is 0, that means he's registered with the Ghana Revenue Authority. There will be an E-Levy of 0. But if there's any amount...
Will we see it?
You will see it.
Okay.
You will see it in the notification.
Okay.
And that is the prompt to you that he's either registered or not.
Okay.
That's how you would notice.
Okay. Do you have a view, or is the GRA able to give us maybe a list of those at least we should know are on their platform, so that there are some people that maybe you are servicing, if you look at that list, they are not there, then you know that you shouldn't pay through the transfer. Because, for instance, I can assume that ECG will be there. Ghana Water will be there, maybe.
I think it's that simple. If in doubt, just proceed with the transaction and watch whether the E-Levy is zero or not.
Okay.
That's
So
easier.
if I don't see a prompt where the E-Levy is zero, then it means that they are not on the government.
You would always see a prompt,
Okay.
but the portion that displays the levy is what you should look, whether the levy amount is zero or a figure. Once it is a figure, it's indication to you that he's not on the GRA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how to check.
That's
fairly easy because there are more. I mean, our database over 15 million. We can publish 15 million for you to know those who are on the tax roll or not.
Okay.
So as you do the transaction, it will be shown to you whether the person is there or not.
Okay. So that's another exemption. That's the fourth one. What are the other exemptions?
No, that's still the third one. So we are left with, I've not come with it.
Okay.
The other exemption is that if you are paying taxes,
okay,
you're paying fees, you're paying charges, and you use the Ghana.gov payment platform or any other government of Ghana payment platform, the levy doesn't apply.
Okay. So if I go to births and deaths registry and I'm paying.
So the Ghana.gov is a digital platform, so you don't have to go to birth and death.
Okay.
You go online,
go
to Ghana.gov, you see birth and death there, and then if you're paying for any of the fees or charges or the services they provide, then you use that digital platform.
Then you don't pay E-Levy.
You don't pay E-Levy.
Okay.
You are
like
paying
the passport
application.
Okay.
And you are paying as a company, you are paying your employee tax to GRA. You go onto the digital platform. So you have to distinguish between walking there in person and doing a transaction.
Doing it online. Okay.
And then online.
Okay.
For in person, it is out because we don't consider that as electronic transfers from you.
Okay.
So that's why when you go to the banking hall and perform the same transaction, the E-Levy doesn't apply. Yeah.
Okay. Now the other exemption is what?
The other exemption is you hear people saying that with E-Levy, the Momo agents will be affected because their capital will be applied as they make any transfer, they get deducted. No, that's not how it's been. Their float or the amount of capital they are using within that ecosystem is being protected. So when you move from one agent to another agent or to your master agent or back to your principal, it is protected so far as the money is moving within that ecosystem.
Okay, can you explain further? Because I think this person has a similar question. It's from Hamidu Muhammad on Twitter. It says, please ask if business capital being electronically transferred is exempt.
So that could be another
That's
question.
Different.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one, those providing the agency service to the public. Normally, there will be one master agent that will have a number of agents that they manage. And they may have like a big fund, like 50,000, and then distribute it among about 5 agents. So in moving 10,000 to each of these agents, the levy doesn't apply. Now, if one agent exhausts his 10,000 and another agent is, say, left with 7,000, he can move 5,000 to the first agent. E-Levy won't apply.
Okay.
So it is to protect the money within the agent ecosystem.
So that any money they move is not deducted within their platform.
It's not deducted.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's take some other questions. We have quite a number of others. So this one, I think, is similar. I said, please ask if the transactions will affect agents' SIMs. So I think that's what you were referring to.
So that's what,
yeah.
In as far as the agent is moving the funds between themselves, no. It is only when the agent is making a transfer to somebody else, personally, not a cash in or a cash out, then it will be seen as a legitimate transfer. But other than that, if it's a cash in, it's exempt. I mean, because we see that as a deposit, a cash in to the person's own SIM, and then a cash out. We don't, E-Levy doesn't apply.
Koshivi asked, the Deputy Minister of Tourism, Marco Kwekumante, is advocating or raising concerns that E-Levy should be extended to cover users of social media platforms such as YouTube and others. How viable is that? And then there's also Amazon and all these other companies. Will E-Levy apply to them? Okay. Facebook?
So, not in that sense as social media, but in the sense as if you are doing a payment online. So let's pick the Amazon. You've gone to Amazon, you enjoy the Kindle and you're buying a book from Amazon. Now, what are you using to make the payment? Probably your debit card from your bank. Your bank provided you this debit card. Amazon is not a Ghanaian company, so most likely it is not on the GRA tax roll. So when you make payment to Amazon, since this transaction is a payment transaction, ordinarily it should have been exempted. But for the fact that Amazon is not registered with Ghana Revenue Authority, then you pay the E-Levy.
So we have to ask Amazon to come
have to
and
beg
register
Amazon
with
to
the
come and
Ghana
register
Revenue
with Ghana
Authority
Revenue
platform.
So that when we buy from Amazon, we don't pay the
We don't
E-Levy.
pay E-Levy.
And
Goodness.
there's another project that is doing that. We call the e-commerce.
Okay.
We are asking non-resident businesses like Amazon, Facebook to be registered in Ghana. And I believe they are big companies. They would comply. So once they come into our fold, now when we buy from them.
And then the local ones we are
As for the
aware
local
of.
ones we are aware of, so they should quickly go to GRA. Between now and 1st May, they should quickly go to GRA and be on our system so that when people are purchasing from them, they end up not paying the E-Levy. Yeah.
Okay. Now, okay, so I have some more questions on WhatsApp. This one says, good morning, Jifa. So if I'm making a transfer of 120 Ghana cedis, will the charge be on the 120 Ghana or the 20 Ghana on the 100? Since the first 100 is tax-free, you are correct. It will be on the extra 20 Ghana. But take note, it must be 100 cedis cumulatively for the day. This one asks, will I be charged when paying school fees?
So you use the same analogy I gave. If the school is registered with Ghana Revenue Authority and you are using the pay school fees option, you won't.
Okay, so if you are paying to your school, your child's school, you must find out if they are on the GRA platform.
They are
If
tax
you
payers.
if you pay, then through the prompt you will know. If they're on the GRA platform, then you will not pay E-Levy.
Yes.
But if they are not, you will pay E-Levy for that transfer. This one has no name. Says, please, I'm still confused. I was at the bank and was told that pulling money from my bank to my Momo account and vice versa will attract the E-Levy, but the gentleman is saying otherwise. I mean, he means Isaac. I need clarity. So some banks offer a service where you can pull your funds onto your mobile money account and also send it from your mobile money account to your bank account without any charge. I know some banks charge for it, but there are some who don't. So in a case, say for instance, a bank doesn't charge, will I be charged E-Levy for the pooling of the funds because it's my own account?
Ghana card is the identifier on both ends. No E-Levy.
Okay, but
so if they charge you, report them.
Okay, but if the Ghana card is the identifier on the bank, but voter ID is on the mobile, you will be charged, or the other way
or the
around.
other way you'll be charged.
Okay,
yeah.
So you need to have all your accounts and all these services registered with the
Ghana
national
card.
ID. That's your national ID. This one from Kweku La Paz. If I have different names or on different accounts using one Ghana card, assuming I transfer from one account to the other and the machine makes a mistake of charging me, which institution will address the problem for me?
So when you are wrongly charged, which can happen, you report first to the entity that provided the service to you. They would bring it to our notice.
I see.
Yeah.
So if the bank wrongfully charges me, I inform the bank. And they have to bring it to GRA.
To GRA.
But how will I know they'll do that?
They will. That's part of the agreement we've come with all the charging parties, that there will be wrongful charges.
Okay,
yes.
So that's for whether it's mobile companies, e-commerce entities,
any of them.
If you feel there's a wrongful charge, report it to them. They'll bring it to you,
and your money will be
come back
refunded
with
back
redress.
to you.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me ask the final question. Okay, I think this is easy. It says, well, there are two more. It says, does the E-Levy include the 1% already charged? That's from Martin in Akosumbu.
No, it doesn't compute on the charge.
Okay.
It computes on your principal. The amount you are transferring is what the E-Levy.
But the 1% is on the full charge. That's what the
mobile
company.
people.
But they said they are going to charge 0.75%.
Yes.
How do we know that it will be implemented?
But that one is a contract between you and your mobile. GRA doesn't come in.
GRA doesn't come into that one.
No.
Okay. So we need to be sure that they are charging us the 0.75%.
Yes.
All right. And I think we are wrapping up, but just one more question that, okay, I think that's it for the questions. So just before we wrap up, is there anything you haven't been able to tell us that you would like to tell us?
The freebies. I mean, the things we are given. We've left out one.
Okay, there's one more exemption.
There's one more exemption.
Okay.
You see, the exemption are plenty. Electronic clearing of checks. So if you use checks, no E-Levy will apply.
Okay. So if I pay you a check, no E-Levy will apply. If it's deposited, no E-Levy will apply.
If you withdraw, no E-Levy will apply.
Mm-hmm. What will the GRA say about projections that a lot of people will revert to cash because they want to avoid paying the electronic levy? So instead of telling their plumber to register with your platform, they'll just pay him cash. They'll pay schools cash. We'll just go back to cash.
You won't. Do the mathematics. I'm a mathematician, so I do everything in maths. So you go to a Shell filling station, you want to buy. There's one person who is there, he's paying cash. You want to pay via Momo, and maybe their machine exports. All you have is that you have money on your Momo account. Now, you know that if the Shell point is registered, you don't pay E-Levy. Now, would you drive and go and look for an ATM and withdraw cash and come and pay, spend fuel, spend time, or even order your food? You be in your bedroom and order food. Would you want to wake up and go and do all these transactions, or you prefer the convenience of the digital platform? So do the calculation. If you go and do cash, you holding your cash, you could be attacked, or you want to even give money to somebody in the north, you are in Accra. Would you give it to the driver to go and give cash? When you do the calculation, the amount you would pay as the levy if you do a transfer, as opposed to going and doing it in person. In person is higher and the risk is higher. Okay. When you do the computation, the risk is less on the digital platform, so you will not go cash.
So you believe that we will not go back to cash?
Convenience.
Convenience
is great. We will not trade it for anything.
All right. Now there's a question from my production team. ATM withdrawals, does that attract E-Levy?
No.
But how do we know that if more people don't go and do ATM withdrawals, there won't be any revisions to that?
I'm not getting your question. So, ATM withdrawals currently, no E-Levy.
No
so
E-Levy.
We are safe.
So we are safe.
Yes.
All right. Currently, the operational word is currently, meaning
I am an implementer. If the policymaker says he will change it and bring it to scope, that one is above me.
Okay.
But for us, the law as has been passed, withdrawals, no E-Levy.
Not part of it. Quick question coming from Facebook. If my employer banks with EcoBank and transfers my salary to my account at UMB, does E-Levy apply?
No, it doesn't apply. So far as the bank account is a corporate account, E-Levy doesn't touch corporate accounts when they make transfer to bank accounts. But when they make transfer to Momo account, then the E-Levy will apply.
Okay, and yes, there was that bit of controversy about salaries being subject to E-Levy. What's the final view on that?
The final view is that salaries that are paid from corporate bank account to individual bank account, no E-Levy applies.
Okay.
Salaries that are paid from corporate bank account to individual Momo account, E-Levy applies, but it is applicable at the employer end.
Okay. So ideally, if my employer is paying me on Momo, the objective is for me to get my salary
as it is,
the net amount.
Yes.
But any other
charges
he or she
has to bear
as the employer will have to bear it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And are there any other platforms that may not be on the Ghana.gov platform? For instance, there's a controversy about E-Switch. What can you tell us about that?
Okay, so E-Switch is owned by Gibbs. Gibbs is a subsidiary of Bank of Ghana.
Yes.
Gibbs is not a charging entity under the Act. So automatically, their platform, E-Levy shouldn't apply.
Okay.
Yeah, because they are not one of the charging entities the law envisages. So
all right.
it
Okay.
gives that protection.
Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac Kobna Mwako, for taking our questions. Much appreciated for making it on Easter Saturday. will be out of your hair and you can
Thank
enjoy
you.
your holidays.
Thank you
Very
yeah.
much. And I want to say thanks to everyone who sent us questions ahead on our Twitter and Facebook pages, sent us questions as well on WhatsApp. Much appreciated. Thanks for joining us on this Easter Saturday edition of The Key Points. My thanks to the entire production team and to you for joining us as well. We're back next week with another interesting edition of The Key Points. But if you want more of me, you can join me on 3FM 92.7, Monday to Fridays from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. I host First Take. Up next, of course, sports.